Biddly, 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 but yes, yeah. Here we go. Ain't nobody down round here. You know what time it is. Get that badger in and on and over here. We had to move back to get his greatness in. We're extremely conscious of the clock watchers. We know that they worry. They know that with the clamber over the clout chaser. Well, I can confirm that this shit vid may very well be slightly more solemn. Solemn. I wanted to pick another word, but I can't think of another one right now. So hit me up with the word that I should have picked. But solemn on the basis, not solemn, but solemn. I've got a bit of a cold coming on, so the nose is blocked, so the sinuses aren't quite working. We're concerned about the clock watchers. We have hit 5,000 Gs, guys. We've hit 5,000 Gs quite comfortably. So I got about 30 subscribers yesterday, so it's gone well over. So shout out to each and every which one of you. It's a momentous moment. We have nothing in preparation for the celebration. We're just going to thank the badger and thank every single which one here for signing up, subscribing, liking, and much appreciated. And now, what do we do? Do you mind me banging on about getting to 6,000? I think that's probably where we go from now. So the next aim is 6,000 before the start of the season. We've got a couple of months. I wanted to get to 5 before the start of the season. We're a minute and a half in, and I've not said all about Leeds United, so I'm sure the clock watch is going to be absolutely livid. But this is my gratitude being pushed forth towards all 5,000 Gs that have followed, subscribed, liked over the years, and commented. So I appreciate every which one here. But the slightly solemn news, and I would argue it's solemn news, that Firpo, I was slightly hopeful that he would sign. Well, I was more than slightly. I thought it'd be a good signing, and then we'd ultimately do need 2 left backs now. But I'm sure, as you've all heard, Fabrizio Romano, who very often is correct on these transfers and what have you, when he puts something down in writing on Twitter, it's normally decent, or texts something out on Twitter, it's normally of a good source. And there is apparently a proposal from Lyon. Obviously, they're in the French league, decent side out there. They finished 6th last year. So they've offered him a contract, and apparently it's ongoing. It's in advanced talks. Apparently, AC Milan are also interested in signing my man Junior Firpo. I think it's as much as it's a very likely move, I think it's a really good move for him as well. He's 28 years old. It's kid. The legacy of Junior is almost at an end, and we now need 2 left backs, which is concerning. There was obviously a lot of talks that he was going to go to Real Betis and that he'd been seen at the ground and stuff, which I think he probably was, talking to many clubs. I think, to be honest, this has been going over the past few months. I think he'll have been assessing his options. 28 years old. Does he want to have another crack at it in Premier League? This would be my last ditch shout out to Junior Firpo to just stick with us for a year and see how he gets on in Prem with us. But no, I don't begrudge him the move. How would you define his time at Elland Road? I don't think I've seen a bigger reversal in form and quality quite like it, to be honest, in my whole time as a football fan. Obviously, I follow Leeds United the most out of everybody that I watch. It's not like I've ever watched the arc of, I don't know, when, Sterling would have just a prospect at Liverpool, then he goes on to do great things, and now he's shit again, whatever. I can't think of another player that De Bruyne, who wasn't brilliant at Chelsea, and Salah, who wasn't brilliant, they're different arcs, because Firpo's gone from being like, I couldn't believe what we'd signed, and he was really poor at defending, but in a really poor side, a really poor Leeds United side, to being quite literally like one of the best fullbacks I've had the pleasure of watching. And I'm not even exaggerating. Way he got forward, bursting into box, his cutbacks, his delivery, his assists, his all-round passion for the club. I felt like he was, bang up at it. People used to get on at him. Oh, I used to not get on at him, but, there'd be when he was kicking off and stuff, saying, I didn't particularly like all that stuff, but he did seem like a good character. So I just think it's just an overwhelming emotion comes out every now and again, doesn't it? He did quite literally become a folk legend, didn't he? A folk hero. The chant, the Firpo chant, is sensational. The away team banter where it's like, you've seen Firpo, now fuck off home type of thing. I'm not sure whether Firpo was aware that he's been, it was slightly lampooned, you'd have to say, for quite some time, and I think still is. And I think he's still got his doubters in the Prem. I think that a lot of people do think he wouldn't be able to go up and make that step. But we didn't really account for, like, you know, him coming from a different country. Didn't really understand what were going on, did he? He's come from a side that have all the ball at Barcelona and stuff, and then, you know, and he did play a fair amount for Barcelona. They thought he was decent. There was some rumblings a few weeks ago that they were considering him, getting him back on the for the just to be the second tier, you know, the second in line left back, which is what I've been saying all season, really, because he's gonna, if he'd have signed for, say, 2 years, and then after, I don't know, in January or next summer he wants his move, the teams that would take him is massively reduced. I mean, there's any team in Championship would have taken him. I do believe quite a few clubs that have had a go at him in Premier League. I think there'll be loads of teams in Spain, obviously France, even Italy, if AC Milan, if that's right, that the interest is there. And if they're talking about it's a free transfer and they're just paying his wages, you know, it leaves the world open to him, doesn't it? He can go wherever he wants on that basis, because plenty of teams will take that gamble, because they're not having to put, say, 10, 15 million down for him. And ultimately, you know, if teams like Real Betis, Lyon, AC Milan, even Barcelona have been potentially interested in him, then you are talking, you know, 15, 20 million for him, aren't you, really, if he is on your books? So how would you define his time? I would define it as legendary. I think he's been one of the, since the Bielsa era, he's been one of the, you know, since like Clicks and Aylins and Coopers and Phillips and players like that have been moved on. Obviously, Hernandez and stuff have all been moved on, or, you know, reluctant to say Rafinha, because it's a slightly different class here. But yeah, I'd say it was certainly one of the recent West Coast warlords. Would you not agree? Clickbait, we don't do it over here. There's been some people asking why I don't do the clickbait. Bait to get the clicks is not something we do over here, and we know this by now. And if you don't know by now, you never knew. The headline was red. £20 million Leeds target was spotted at Elland Road, right? So I'm running with that. Hamer was spotted at Elland Road, and then exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Remember? So there was that. You've got to love it, haven't you? You've got it. We live for this shit. We love this stuff. We love this game, as Patrice Evra said. It's probably the last ex-Man United player that I will ever quote, other than Roy Keane. So don't mind a Roy Keane quote. Just insane. Obviously, there's not a great deal going on today. That's why we're talking about Gus Hamer when he was spotted at Elland Road. I don't know what he was doing there, to be fair. But the idea that there's any link between him being there and then not getting promoted to the Premier League, and that because his grandiose, that idea in a moment in time was to sign for Leeds United when we went up. Still not over enamoured with Gus Hamer. I don't care what anybody says. I'm much more along the lines of Buendia. Got a lot of shit yesterday, to be fair, but I'm much more along the lines of Buendia, players like that, as opposed to Gus Hamer. If he comes in, I will support it. You know I will. Team Longstaff, Team Trafford, Team Kelleher, Team Donnarumma, Neuer. Keepers are the best players in the world. Let's get to 6,000 G's, boys. Peace.
Boom.